I get bored really easily, so I tend not to like really typical harmony. So that was a really good fit for me because I always like to challenge the ears. I always like to surprise people by what I'm composing. My name is Mark Korven, and I composed the music score for The First Omen. So my musical background has a lot of twists and turns to it. I started out as a young kid playing in basement bands, playing Black Sabbath songs, Deep Purple, a lot of heavy stuff. And that led me into more of a progressive rock thing, and that eventually led me into jazz fusion, and then after that, into more traditional jazz. My goal was to one day become a jazz guitar player. So I went to music school, studied jazz harmony, learned a bit about orchestration, which really came in handy later in my career, although I didn't see that coming down the pike. After that, I played in a lot of different bands as a freelance guitar player. I was really highly trained in how to fade my way through basically anything. In the beginning, Arkasha was very much pushing for a very dissonant score, and I was trying to push a little bit beyond that because I just didn't want to repeat myself. I wanted to do something new. So it became much more of an orchestral thing with a big choir and lots of strings. The score was recorded at Air Studios Lyndhurst in London, and it was just a fantastic experience. We had quite a large string section. We had a huge choir. Must have been 35-piece choir. You know, in a way, it sort of sounds like the original score, but it's just so much bigger. There's so much more weight and or organic feeling, which was just wonderful. And I think the orchestral musicians, they really loved doing it because they were called to do something very different as well. So at the end of the session, they came up to me and said it was so fun to do this, to be challenged with new music like this. So it was just a wonderful experience. There are a few leitmotifs in the film. I think the most distinctive would be the theme for the jackal. We used sort of some ancient Roman brass for that because I figure the jackal, this is ancient evil, and it's tied in with the Catholic Church. So let's go Roman. Let's go like way back there. So that was a really distinctive sonic palette for the jackal. The other thing we used for the jackal was some very, very low voices. We actually brought in 4 specialists, so 4 male singers that specialize in the real subsonic vocal stuff, and they sang a particular jackal motif that I had written. The Apprehension Engine is an idea I had to build a box. So I went to my friend Tony Duggan Smith, who's a luthier, a guitar builder, and I said, I have this idea that would incorporate all these experimental things I do. One would be the ebow. It's a little thing that you hold in your hand, and basically it's a sustainer. It's a string sustainer for an electric guitar. I use it in sort of bizarre, horrifying ways. And a hurdy-gurdy, which is a medieval instrument. It's like a wheel that turns. You put rosin on the wheel, and it basically bows the string by. It's like a crank, and various things that I could bow, like metal rulers and rods and things like that. And I use friction mallets as well to make sort of groany sounds on it. Basically, all this experimental, horrifying stuff. I'd say the best piece of advice I ever got was learning how to spot. Because when I first started out, I didn't even know what spotting was. Like, spotting is is basically you decide where the music is going to go in the film, and what the landscape of that, say, particular cue is going to be doing, how it's going to contribute to the action or the emotion. My job as a composer for a horror film is basically, how can I make it scarier? And I think I did that.